And what I really began to realize is that, and I think, look, in a lot of ways, we've already proved it in some of the conversations that we've had on here. Yeah. I'm really good at talking about this stuff. Yeah. But make no mistake about it. It's so different to actually feeling it. Yeah. I've become an expert at talking about my emotions. Yeah. Like I could sit in front, I'd say I could go, if I do one-to-one therapy, and I've done it in the past, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it or that it's bad, but here's one of the things that sometimes happens. I become a good little patient. Yeah. So that the therapist asks me his question, I work out why they've asked me it, and I give one hell of a good answer. I'll drop in a bit of emotion in my voice if I need to, if I think that's what I need to make them feel good about it. The session finishes, they think it was the most amazing, profound session full of breakthroughs, and I've not even touched the surface. I've done what I do all of my life, which is rationalize that ducking and diving that I do with my kids to jostle around it so I don't have to go there. Breath work remains still today the one thing that doesn't let me, well, actually, I still try and jostle around it for the first sort of 10 minutes of doing the breathing pattern, to be honest with you. But once it gets me, it's probably one of the only things that really truly brings me to my body, you know? And so it's been profound for me in that way, in that a regular practice has really helped me to release stuff that I don't necessarily have to rationalize. And just to wrap that up as well, because I think this bit's really important. Like I know, like I say, I know everything. We're proving today already that there's loads more to learn, right? Because we're always learning. But I know a lot about what's happened to me. You know, I'm quite an expert in all of that stuff. Yeah. But a lot of what I've experienced happened before I developed my rational brain, right? So I can't learn about that rationally. It's in my body. It's in my body. And so my nervous system is active, very active, a lot. And we're always taught that the way that we think, and I do think these things are sort of so intertwined, but sometimes my nervous system reacts and then my rationale comes after, because there's nothing there, but my body's picked up on something and it's reacting to something I experienced, I believe, pre-rational brain. And so it's not there. The solution's not here. The solution's in here. So breathwork's been incredible for me in that sense. And it's, you know, I've stuck with a regular practice in a whole bunch of different capacities. I'm able to meditate now through like using my breath. And it's been incredible for me. Yeah. Was that
I
quick
loved
enough?
it. That was perfect. I love that you talk about, you know, even today, I mean, you practice it, you teach it, you guide it, and you still struggle in it in the beginning of it. Like your body is still resisting that space sometimes. And I relate to that so much where it's like, because we're yoga teachers, we do breath, we, you know, meditate, we do all of these things and we talk about them a lot. We, you know, preach about the benefits of all of them. We had yoga this past week. We teach a Sunday morning yoga class. And at the end of the class, I was just sitting there so grateful because that is honestly at this point in my life with everything else that we have going on, that's the only time I'm on a yoga mat. I don't have a regular weekly practice where I'm waking up every morning like I want to, that I should, that I have before. You know, we go through phases and everything like that. But I love that you know, there's something about, like you said, the things that are stored subconsciously in our bodies, in our nervous systems. It's like that part of me is so afraid to still go into those spaces where I know that those walls are going to be let down. It kind of ties back into that thing where kids are coming towards that and pushing against that. It's almost like this inner part of me is pushing against that as well. And then I have the adult version of me or the cognitive part of me that is resistant to it, because like every time I would do one of your breath works, and like I love the idea too that we can just throw on headphones and listen, like you don't have to be in the same room. And there's so many, you know, amazing things that can happen just by listening to your, not just you talk, but doing all of these things. Every time I go towards them, every time I step into that place, even like going to yoga and teaching yoga, there's a part of me that is always like, fuck that. I don't want to do that. I'm pushing against those things because I think it is that part of me that is so not just traumatized and wounded and in pain and in hurt, but it's my activated nervous system that has been the norm for so long that calming it and going into those spaces and doing those things that are going to relax it and help it just come down, it is scary almost always. Even if I don't have cognitive awareness of it, I can always feel the resistance in my body no matter what.
It's the strongest resistance as well, right? Like in my case, talking in my experience, and just as you was talking there, I was thinking about it, and I don't know if I've ever vocalized it in this way, but like if I just talk about my own experience, so for the first 9 years, my dad was an alcoholic, right? So I lived in a very chaotic, frightening, scary environment a lot, right? Even when it wasn't scary, you were scared about it becoming scary again. Then when I think of like how sensitive and intuitive I am, and how hard that must have been for the child that I was in some of the things, when I think rationally about some of the experiences that I had, the impact that that must have had on me, and how the only survival mechanism I must have had would have been to escape my body, right? Like that's what I stayed alive through my childhood because I escaped my body. I stayed alive through my teenage years through drugs and alcohol because I needed something extra to escape my body. And now as an adult, I'm trying to teach myself that the solution is to be in my body, right? And so I'm literally teaching that youngest part of myself, that young part of myself, to run back into the burning building. And I'm saying, if we get in there, it's going to be all right. You know, because when I think about it, when you were just talking, that's what I'm doing. My solution all my life has been escape, has to run away from my body, is to not be in my, it's not safe to be in my body. It's never been safe to be in my body. Not physically, you know, as in because I might get hurt physically, but because to be in my body and to feel what's going on around me is not safe. And so, you know, what I notice in my life, to expand on that a little bit as well, is that in my deep and meaningful personal relationships, I find it hard to be in my body too, because I want to get out of my body so that I can be safe. But by doing that, I'm not present to the people that love me and want to be with me, because I'm not there, you know? And so it makes sense that there's so much resistance. And I wish that by saying all of that, then it would mean that I'd go, brilliant. And then the next breath work, I'll lay down and just fall straight into it. But yes, I always run away from it.
Yeah, describing it that way, I think, is really profound. I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that.
We were meant to be. We were meant to be.